Count Dooku was an integral part of the Clone Wars, as he was the fallen Jedi that the Separatists rallied behind. But what if Dooku was killed during the Battle of Geonosis?
I've become more powerful than any Jedi. Even you.
Much to learn, you still have.
So, for this theory, I want to go over the idea that following Obi-Wan and Anakin's defeat in Dooku's hangar, Yoda turns up and manages to kill Dooku, meaning he never manages to leave Geonosis. This has some pretty crazy effects on the war and the galaxy as a whole, and it can really go either way from there. So, let's get started. Now, Dooku's main purpose was to ensure the war continued as long as necessary for his master, Palpatine, to cement his rule and prepare for his grand plan. Dooku was the head of state for the Confederacy, and therefore was able to rally them to whatever cause he wanted, even if it would eventually lead to them losing the war. However, without Dooku, Palpatine loses his control over the CIS. Instead, the leadership would fall to the High Council, which we know is largely comprised of wealthy business tycoons. Although the Separatist High Council are loyal to the mysterious Sidious, I don't believe that they would remain this way for long. These businessmen are, after all, opportunists, and if they believe they're not bettering themselves, then they would turn their back on Palpatine. Despite this, I don't believe that the Separatists would benefit overall from Dooku's death. You see, Dooku, under Palpatine's instruction, kept the CIS together. However, without him, the Separatists would likely begin to divide. Members of the High Council would likely pursue the title of Head of State to gain more power in the Alliance. As well as this, there's another significant problem: Grievous. By the time the Clone Wars began, Grievous was already under the employ of the banking clan, and with the other Separatist leaders knowing nothing of war, Grievous would likely have more and more military power thrust upon him. In the Clone Wars, Dooku kept Grievous in line. However, without him, Grievous's power would essentially be unrivaled. The Separatists would be forced to pledge all their armies and resources behind him, hoping that he'd be able to protect them from the Republic. However, do you believe that Grievous could hold back the Republic? As we see multiple times in the Clone Wars, Grievous is more of a glorified attack dog, ruthless, undeniably cruel, and very skilled, but not exactly a master tactician like Dooku was, so it's possible that the war would be over far quicker than it was originally, with the Separatists being forced to surrender. Meanwhile, Palpatine would not be anywhere near as powerful as he actually became in the timeline, and would either have to stand down as Chancellor or reveal himself as the sinister Sith Lord, where he would likely be killed by the Jedi before too much damage could be done. Now, for all you Grievous and Sidious fans out there, I have an alternate theory. After Grievous is given complete control over the Separatists' army and navy, he decides why should he have to continue to serve the High Council. It's no secret he has little sympathy for the conglomerates. At this point, I believe Sidious would perhaps manage to talk him into taking over, if you will, assassinating the High Council and declaring himself the head of state of the Separatist Alliance. Now, needless to say, this is a scary idea. I mean, Grievous as the absolute leader of the Separatists would simply turn it into a terror state, with disloyalty being stamped out, as many Separatists would choose to stand up against the Kaleesh warlord. However, the war would likely be far more brutal. With Grievous's furiosity and Palpatine's careful planning, the Republic would be terrified of an invasion from the CIS under Grievous, and Palpatine would likely use this to further his political standings. I mean, eventually the war would end, and Grievous would inevitably be assassinated when Sidious had everything he wanted, but it's possible Palpatine would be even more powerful than he was in the original timeline, meaning the early years of his empire would be far more successful and productive than they were originally. But what do you think? Do you believe that Dooku's death would be good or bad, and which outcome do you believe is most likely to occur, if either? Please put your own scenarios below, and I do hope that you enjoyed this rethink, and if so, please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.